What can this $20 bill help you realize about your value and self-worth? Stick around and find out right after this. Hey everyone, welcome back to episode 4 of Thoughts in the Car. I'm Brett Basham, and today I wanted to tell a story, one that's really helped me frame my perspective on value and self-worth. And it starts with this $20 bill. If I were to offer you this $20 bill right now, I'm sure 100% of you would take it, no questions asked. Now, what if I were to crumble this $20 bill up in my palm and then offer it to you? Would you still take it? I think you would. What if I were to take this $20 bill, throw it on the ground, step all over it, and then offer it to you? Would you still take it? Absolutely, I think you would. Doesn't lose its value, doesn't lose its worth, it's still worth $20. What if I were to take this, submerge it in water, throw it around in the mud, and then try to give it to you? Would you still take it? Yes. Again, doesn't lose its value, doesn't lose its worth. So what's the point? The point is that we are kind of like this $20 bill. No matter what happens to us from a external circumstance, whether that's negativity, adversity, what have you, we don't lose our value and we don't lose our self-worth. Our self-worth and value come from internally, how we view ourselves, how we love ourselves, and how we come to accept who we are as people. And I think a lot of times, especially with the younger generation, they can experience that drop or that giving away of power of our self-worth and our value based on what other people say, based on what other people do, and how it affects us negatively. When I was younger, I was fortunate enough to be blessed with talents and abilities that I didn't experience, especially in baseball. I didn't experience a whole lot of tough times. I didn't really experience a whole lot of adversity until I got to college, when everybody was the same skill level, was the same or even better. And that's when I really experienced adversity and started to question, can I do this? Do I have the ability? And is this for me? Because I had always put my identity in being a baseball player. I never really thought about anything else. There was no plan B. The plan A was, I'm going to be as good as I can playing baseball, and then that was it. There was no plan B. And I think from that perspective, it really hurt my perception of myself. And it had nothing to do with who I was as a person. It had to do with I was dealing with some struggles on the field. And from that, kind of bled over into who I thought I was as a person, which wasn't healthy at all. So with all that said, I want to talk about 5 ways that you can build your self-worth and build your value. Number 1, you need to increase your self-understanding. So I want you to imagine that everything was taken away from you. All your money, friends, family, possessions, your job, your status, if you will. Imagine all that was taken away from you. Imagine all you had left was just you, yourself. How would that make you feel? Could you accept that? So I want you to get to know yourself on a deeper level by asking yourself these questions. Who am I? Who am I not? How do others see me? What life moments define me? And then what brings me joy and fulfillment. And then once you have a better understanding of who you are, what fulfills you, what makes you happy, then it's time to take a look at maybe a little bit more of the negative things, what we can work on, what we can do better within our lives. So ask yourself these questions. Where do I struggle? Where can I improve? What am I afraid of? What emotions hurt me? What mistakes do I make? What can I do to correct them? So once you understand a little bit more about yourself and who you are, it's time to move on to number 2, which is boost your self-acceptance. So the first thing in boosting your self-acceptance is to forgive yourself for anything you mentioned in the previous exercise that you didn't do well, you didn't handle well, a mistake you made, something negative that's happened in your life. I want you to think about everything you learned from that and then say these 3 things. I accept the good and the bad. I accept my flaws, fears, doubts, and behaviors. And lastly, this is how I am, and I'm at peace with that. Number 3, enhance your self-love and aim for progress, not perfection. I want you to keep in mind these 3 statements when talking about self-love and aiming for progress and not perfection. The first, you don't have to be perfect. You don't need to compare yourself to others. Comparison to others is the thief of all joy. And lastly, pay attention to the tone in which you talk to yourself. Number 4, recognize your self-worth. So once you understand, accept, and love who you are as a person, it's much easier to let go of having to rely on people, accomplishments, status, things like that. I want you to remind yourself of these 2 things. No matter what people say or do, you alone control how you feel about you. And then your value comes from inside, an internal measure set for yourself. And number 5, take full responsibility for yourself. Don't leave it up to chance. Don't leave it up to anyone else. Take full responsibility for you. Take full responsibility for everything that happens in your life to you without giving your power up to anything or anyone else. And lastly, acknowledge you have the personal power to change and influence the events and circumstances in your life. It's really up to you to make sure that you are taking responsibility for the things that happen to you and that happen for you. So, I hope that helps. Those are some things that I've had to come to terms with as far as identifying my self-worth and my value. And it's really helped me get to a good spot, and I hope it helps with you as well. So, until next time, tell those people that you love them.